And now to Guantanamo Bay, where the most infamous prisoners at the U.S. detention center are back in front of a military judge today. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, along with 4 other prisoners accused of planning the September 11th attacks, are facing the death penalty. A military judge convened an unusual 2-day pretrial hearing today to gather information about accusations that FBI agents have been questioning staff of the defense team. It's a development that could create another delay in an already prolonged case. Earlier, I spoke to RT's Megan Lopez, who attended a special media viewing of the hearing from a military base in Fort Meade, Maryland. I first asked her to talk about why this trial continues to be delayed.
So this is being called the most complex terrorism trial in the United States history. What we have going on in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, is 5 separate defendants, all 9/11 co-conspirators, with 5 separate defense teams. So first of all, those 5 separate defense teams play into how long this trial is taking, because as you can imagine, a single trial with a single defense team has their own arguments to make. So you're talking about 5 of them. Also, they're being charged for the deaths of 2,973 people in the September 11th attack. So obviously there's a lot of evidence to go through. There are 293,000 unclassified pages of evidence to go through, along with numerous exhibits, 190 in all, as well as the testimony already of 22 witnesses. So what has happened and what has been going on this whole time is since their May 2012 arraignment, there have been 10 different pre-trial kind of hearings. We're seeing the next kind of slew of them. They stopped off in April, and we can get into why they stopped off. But obviously, it's just taking a long time because there are a lot of procedural hearings that need to happen first, so not as to slow down the trial when it actually does start taking place. And obviously, versus being a civilian court, this is a military commission, which has much more stringent guidelines when it comes to how these procedures work and exactly what steps need to be taken.
We'll talk about these alleged conspirators. Who are these 5 men that are on trial?
So all of these are the 9/11 co-conspirators accused, obviously, of helping plot and complete the 9/11 terror plot. The most notable of which is obviously going to be the 9/11 mastermind, or so-called mastermind, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Along with him in that courtroom is Mustafa al-Hassawi. He is described as a 9/11 financier and facilitator. Also, Ammar al-Baluchi, he's described as a 9/11 facilitator who engaged in helping arrange the travels of 13 of those 9/11 hijackers. Also with them is Walid bin Atash. He's described as a 9/11 facilitator. He actually helped case the airport security in the United Arab Emirates to help those hijackers get onto a plane that would eventually end up in the United States. And finally, we have Ramzi bin al-Shibh. He's described as the 9/11 coordinator who really put all of those efforts, all of the coordination into play and getting everyone on the same page for this terror plot.
And Megan, you were at a special hearing at Fort Meade watching this all go down. What happened today?
So today is being described as a very special type of pretrial hearing. Under investigation right now is whether or not the FBI did in fact conduct investigations that resulted in them questioning members of the defense team. So the defense teams found out in April that 4 members of the various defense teams might have been questioned by the FBI. Now, those defense teams, the people that were questioned, were not lawyers. At this point, we do not know what the investigation was trying to uncover. We do not know who was the target of this investigation. We don't know what they found, if anything. What we do know right now is that the FBI investigations are allegedly over, or so says the prosecution. There are no current investigations going on, and that none of those investigations were against the lawyers themselves. But the reason the lawyers are making such a big deal out of this is that they say that this is having a chilling effect. One of the lawyers says that he actually put off a trip to the Middle East for a fact-finding mission because he was afraid that he could be seen as some type of a conspirator himself. So they say that this is a major chilling effect, and they want to know what is going on. So what these defense lawyers are asking for is for FBI agents to testify to the court on the record, under oath, about what exactly this investigation was trying to get out, these 2 separate investigations.
And as I understand, there was actually an increased media presence at this trial at Guantanamo Bay. Where is the surge in media interest coming from here?
Well, obviously, we're seeing a surge. Now, we're seeing a surge both here in Fort Meade. There are about double the amount of reporters that I've seen here, but also at Guantanamo Bay. Guantanamo Bay actually had to switch planes. It usually sends a little charter jet over carrying journalists who want to go and attend those Guantanamo Bay hearings in person. They had to switch to a C-17 cargo jet to accommodate the 15 journalists that have now asked to go over. Now, what this all results from, as you can imagine, is the major conflict that arose from the Bo Bergdahl prisoner swap, where he was swapped for 5 Taliban members to Qatar. So there was a lot of tension, a lot of interest in this. Congressional members were not informed that that swap was happening. Chuck Hagel just testified last week saying that the reason that they weren't notified was because there just wasn't enough time. There was too much risk and too much uncertainty in order to be able to warn Congress that that was happening. So Congress is very interested in this. Journalists are very interested in this, and admittedly, the public is becoming more interested in the ongoings at Guantanamo Bay. Also, as I mentioned, these trials have been held up since April, ever since this FBI kind of investigation came to light. So this is the first time in quite a while that we've seen these 5 people, including Khalid Sheikh Mohammed with his orange iconic beard, in the courtroom, and one of them is actually participating in a hunger strike, so it was interesting to kind of see his demeanor.
That was RT correspondent Megan Lopez.